views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hey everybody, I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. Welcome to Open BxRx. It's our special coverage of COVID-19 and current events in our community and beyond. Coming up on today's show, we've got it all for you. As we face uncertain times in our country, many are struggling with the mental health issues, and will be joined by Therapy for Black Men for a look at their work and with tips on seeking help. Plus, we'll take a look at a school coming to the area with a business and entrepreneurial focus and how the pandemic has impacted their work and goals. Then Bobby C has the latest in the world of sports, and then later on, the founder of Dinner Table Doc to discuss her work with the goal to create safe spaces for young women. So stay tuned. All this and more is coming up next on Open. Welcome. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee from 107.5 WBLS. Welcome to Open. We have a fantastic show lined up for you today. I have the co-founder of Therapy for Black Men, Vladimire Calixte, and she does relationships and all of that. And she's going to let us know more about her work. We'll take a great look at it. Give her another big round of applause, everybody at home and watching us. Vladimire Calixte, we welcome you to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Now, Vladimir is that Russian and then French on the back end?
Absolutely.
Russian and French.
Yes. My mom has a beautiful sense of humor. So She said, I'm going to call you Vladimir, whether you're a boy or a girl. I'll just add the E at the end to make it feminine.
There you go.
But it's a Russian name.
Yeah. So you're a therapist.
Yes.
Tell us about some of the work that you're doing in our community.
So I have my private practice, Life Rebuilding, in New York City, where I support everyone from all walks of life. And as cliche as this is going to sound, Bob, I always tell my clients that my role is to support you to become a student of self, and for you to have a relationship with your soul. And for
come within.
Yes.
Come within.
Absolutely.
And this is a great time to come within because, quarantine time and all of that. So yes, come within and find out more about yourself, huh?
Absolutely. So, and it makes for a powerful living. So, and I also have my husband and I, we are the creators and founders of therapyforblackmen.org. Yes. I just realized from my private practice and from what my husband also shares, men need that safe space, to just be, that space where they don't have to think about what it is to be a man, but what it is to be a human being.
Yeah. So how did you come up with that name on Therapy for Black Men? How did you find out that this is what you wanted to do?
So I see a lot of athletes, a lot of pro athletes. Again, I just realized that space was a creative space for men, that space where they can just be, the space where they can be completely vulnerable and to share what's on their heart, to share their plights, what's bothering them, to share also that I'm not okay, a space where it's okay for them not to be okay. So I thought what better way to call it is Therapy for Black Men. And the word therapy is because it's something that a lot of us shy away from. I can say in our community, slowly but surely it's coming to a place where we're more open, but our community isn't really open to therapy. So especially for a Black man, you think of therapy, the first thing you think about is something's wrong with you.
Well, how do you strip away that stigmatization associated with men of color regarding therapy, of course, in their communities?
the first thing is for them to know that it's okay for them to seek support. So one of our taglines is that strength still needs support. They have to realize that asking for support isn't a form of weakness, but it is actually a form of strength. It is actually a form of emotional maturity to know that I'm seeking support. And I like the word support rather than help, because I feel like when you change the language, people are more readily available to say, okay, right, I do need support. There's a negative connotation to seeking help, but support. Men do need that kind of support, and that it's okay to say, I need that.
I need help. So how important is it to let clients know that you don't have to go on this journey alone?
It's extremely important, because as a therapist, a lot of clients come to you, some of the things they share, Bob, they don't even share with people that they live with. Their innermost thoughts, the things that bother them. It's just really important for them to share and make a link in terms of, if you're able to share what's on your heart, you're able to connect to the people that are near you, the people that are in your home, and the importance of connecting with yourself and therefore being able to connect with other people.
Vladimire, in times of COVID-19, the pandemic, lots of protests and unemployment, I know you must be getting a lot of calls. How do you deal with this depression rate that's out there? Because it has to be depressing to a lot of people. I know it's depressing to me, but I try to find ways to try to climb out of it. But, sometimes it just grabs you and holds you for a little bit.
Absolutely, Bob. I think the first thing is for all of us to understand is that we're grieving. If we acknowledge that we are grieving, we're grieving so many different things. We're collectively grieving, and us in a Black community, we're dealing with racial grief. So if you can identify it as grief, it makes you better able to manage what it is that you're feeling. So to understand the different stages of grief, and one of them is sadness. One of them is feeling depressed. There's the loss of normalcy. Things will most likely never be the way it was before COVID-19. Notice also the loss of financial economic stability. So we're grieving on so many different levels, and being able to identify it as grief, then if we can identify it as that, then we can be able to navigate and manage it. Yeah. So that's one of the first things I would say.
And a lot of people grow up with like a void in their lives. Some people grow up without a mother or without a father. How do you fill that void?
First, to recognize the pain and recognize that I am in pain because my mom was emotionally absent or my father was physically absent. Yep. Recognizing that you're in pain and the reason why you're in pain, and also knowing you and your personhood, how you would best heal. So is it to talk through? Is it if your parents are still living, to talk to them and tell them what it is that's on your mind? Or is it to just work it through on your own with support of a therapist in terms of reparenting yourself, treating yourself the way you weren't treated by your parents? Now,
is this also therapy for you? Because this could be the reason why some people get into this, is because they want to fix some things in their own lives. Is this also talking to other people? Is that therapy for you?
Actually, the reason why I got into this field is because of my father's absence.
Oh.
My father had, since he recently passed away, he had multiple children, and that was a source of pain for me, Bob. So knowing that pain and what that did and how it manifested in my life, it makes me more empathetic, emotionally empathetic, when clients are sitting across from me and we're talking. I'm able to empathize. I'm able to really understand the source of their pain, even if it may not be a father wound, but I'm able to empathize. So definitely.
Therapy works both ways.
Oh, absolutely.
And do you have any children?
I have two, a girl and a boy.
How does that feel as a mother?
You mean in terms of talking to them about the pandemic, or talking to them I mean,
knowing what you've been through, and now that you're a mother, and
mhm.
you want to
Absolutely.
try to straighten out some of the things that took place in the past.
Oh, absolutely. It makes me want to get to know them as human beings. I'm more present. I'm more intentional in my parenting. It makes the more difference, because I do believe, though, unhealed traumas, they never go away. They just manifest into something else. So it's important to my husband and I for us to really be present with our children, really talk to them, and really find out like what's on their mind. And also, most important, Bob, do they feel like they're being loved the way they're requesting to be loved? As young as they are, it's important that we love them the way they're requesting to be loved, which is really.
And how do you see this from the therapist's point of view?
In terms of loving them the way they're requesting to be loved?
Yes.
Allowing them to be vulnerable. I realize that vulnerability is powerful, and vulnerability is truth. And there's no way we can have a connection if we're not vulnerable. So there's no way, Bob, my children could feel connected to my husband and I if they're not truly vulnerable. And in order for them to be vulnerable, they have to feel like it's a safe space for them to be honest about what it is that they're feeling. So I guess that's the therapist part of me that allows that safe space, that allows them to be.
Yeah. And finally, what do you want Black men to know about seeking help?
That it's a form of strength, that it just, it'll help 7 generations over, that it's not only for them and they're important, but it's for their children and their children's children. Because I do believe that our actions impact 7 generations over. And there's nothing weak about seeking support. It says that you are emotionally mature, and it says that you are at a place when you're ready, that you're ready to become a student of self. And when you're a student of self, it changes the way that you live as well as the way that you love.
I love it. All right. You have a website where we can go and check everything out?
Yes, it's therapyforblackmen.org. And I wanted to also share with your audience, Bob, that we have been getting donations from really kind folks. So my husband and I have decided to use that money for Black men who are unemployed, who don't have health insurance, that we will pay for these sessions for them.
Ooh.
On our site, though, it has to be from a therapist that is listed on our site. And I want to make this point, though, the therapist, their services are not free. We are paying the therapist on the site for the men to seek some free sessions so that they don't have to worry about the financial burden of seeking support.
What's that site again?
At therapyforblackmen.org.
Vladimire Calixte, co-founder, Therapy for Black Men and celebrity relationship therapist. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you. Keep up the great work, and we love you and appreciate you for your service.
Thank you so much for having me.
Stay safe, be blessed.
Thank you.
All right. We'll take a break. I've got more coming up next on Open. Welcome back. La Centrale in the Melrose section of the Bronx is holding an affordable housing lottery. Reporter Veronica Guidi has the story.
New housing developments are coming to the Bronx thanks to several companies such as Hudson, BRP, Kretschmer, ELH TKC LLC, Communilife, and Breaking Ground, together with the New York City Department of Housing Preservation and Development and the New York City Housing Development Corporation. They have announced a housing lottery for 494 affordable apartments at La Central Buildings A and B in the South Bronx. Now, this comes at a time when COVID-19 has left many families in fear of keeping up with their rent and eviction. They are especially being encouraged to apply.
We are serving a number of different income levels. So if you make anywhere between $15,738 and $206,960, and there's a number of different ranges for how large your household is, and which unit you qualify for, but that's the overall range of income. You should definitely go to our website, lacentralbronx.com. Applications are open. They close August 14th. So this is the housing lottery. It's run by the City of New York. So it opens and then it closes August 14th, and then the process of pulling the applications and getting all the documentation together starts.
La Central A and B is an affordable development located in the Melrose section of the Bronx, close to numerous public transit options, which will include nearly 500 new apartments, a YMCA, and be home to BronxNet's new state-of-the-art TV studio.
So we are launching the lottery, which will be for 494 affordable housing apartments. There are also 2 super units, one for each building on site. And it's all affordable, as I said. It will also have a 50,000 square foot YMCA in one building. And one of our favorite tenants is BronxNet in building B. So we'll have a brand new state-of-the-art BronxNet studio, which we're very excited about.
The apartments range from studios to 4 bedrooms with updated appliances, and built-in amenities include a rooftop terrace, a grown NYC-operated resident garden program, bicycle storage, an on-site superintendent, and community rooms. For information on how to apply, you can visit lacentralbronx.com. For BronxNet, I'm Veronica Guidi.
Welcome back. I'm the Doc Bob Lee, and I've got some interesting guests in store for you. They are waiting in line, and they are ready to go. They're going to bring the Universal Business Academy back to life. We welcome Isaiah Jefferson, Frank Brown Jr., and Pastor Eddie Spencer IV to the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
How are you guys doing? How are you dealing with this pandemic and all the things that are happening in life?
Doctor, this has been a very trying moment. This has been personal through this particular pandemic. We've had a number of family members that have been affected by this here. But I have to say it from a different perspective of this has been a very inspirational time as well. This has given us time to actually think about some next moves we need to take, things that we need to continue to push forward with. Me and yourself, we got a chance to talk about the Universal Business Academy some years ago, and we're here. We're still here, and we're still pushing this this process and this here project forward. Yeah. So it's been a very inspirational time, but a very trying and emotional time as well.
Yeah. Isaiah, tell us about the Circle of Colors community organization.
Well, Circles of Color was started officially as a 501c3 back in 2012. And it was designed to get involved in the community from the perspective of providing economic empowerment through lectures in the local high schools that evolved into after-school programs that gave these kids hands-on experience on and how to start companies. And today we are engaging in the biggest project to date, and that's the Universal Business Academy as a private New Jersey private school.
I like it. And you've got some board members, Frank Brown and Pastor Edward Spencer, the fourth. How did you guys become a part of the Universal Business Academy?
Well, interestingly enough, I met this very young gentleman a couple years ago when I was playing drums at a church in Hackensack, New Jersey. His name is Isaiah Jefferson. Very passionate about circles of color. And my wife and I were there, and I know that weekly I would see this gentleman, he and his wife, and they would talk about this organization they had. And at the time, my wife and I were raising some younger children at the time. Our two youngest were very young at the time. And he was so passionate. And then I would see him periodically through the years. And then after a while, it just became these really substantive conversations on a regular basis, which to me said, well, this guy, he gets it. You know, some people, you have to give them a minute. You can't just buy into everything right away. And when you stay the course, as he has, things didn't come to light. Like my father used to say, what don't come out in the wash comes out in the rinse. So,
exactly.
Okay. And years later, when I had the kind of time to devote to more community aspects, my children, my two youngest are 12 and 14, the oldest is 21. He came and he had this idea, and I saw him at where he was working at a car dealership a couple months ago. And we started talking again, and then he reached out and he said that this was on the books. And I said, well, let me see what I can do. I don't know that I have all the answers. I don't know that I have all the resources. I have some information that I can lend and some time I can lend, and I'd love to try at least get you up and going.
There you go.
So,
and you have an extensive background. Your father was involved. He was in the music business, and I see all those albums behind you. Briefly touch on them.
Well, my dad is named Frankie Downbeat Brown. He was senior, and he was a drummer from very early on. He was one of the first black drummers in Local 802. Did a lot of touring with many big names, and I watched this as I was growing up. That's what then got me into the music business as a musician first and foremost, and then I took up an audio engineering minor while I was at Lincoln University. And I've been able to do both. I've been blessed to do both and work with some pretty darn big names myself, which is a total dream. So when you dreamt all your life of doing these things, and then it comes to fruition, it's incredible. And there's other people who have been in my life. James Baldwin, that's Uncle Jimmy to me. My dad and him grew up together in Harlem, and Don Gardner, who we just lost last year, used to sing with Baby Washington. And other things. He had other solo projects.
You were way back before Motown.
Yeah. I mean, these are people that Jimmy Castor also. Jimmy Castor, another Harlemite. These are all people who were in my life, in my life, most of my life. And
you got Beyonce back there.
Beyonce and the original four Destiny's Children, Destiny's Child, the group. I was their first audio engineer on the road, hired by Matthew Knowles himself. So wow. I mean, I did 13 years at the MTV VMAs. So I've got a pretty extensive background with music and audio engineering myself. So I've been blessed, and no complaint.
So you got a good team there to help others get what they need out of life. Pastor, why do you believe that the community would benefit from the Universal Business Academy?
The best way to enhance any community is by being honest about where the deficiencies are, so that you can identify the problems and not just neutralize the problems, but also advance the people. And this particular program speaks specifically to where the deficiencies are, and also has a plan to advance and accelerate the people. And whenever you do that, you have a recipe for success as well as for longevity. When Isaiah reached out to me, my first question was, how long can this last? Because if we're only going to give a burst, then it's not going to be beneficial. Anybody can do something for a year.
Yeah.
In ministry, behind the scenes, we always say any preacher can get invited to a church once, but can you get invited back? You know, so are you able to do something that is sustainable?
Exactly.
So to borrow from Frank's background, we don't want to be a one-hit wonder. So we want to make sure that we accelerate. And I believe our communities are screaming for a program of this magnitude, but we're also screaming for programs that operate in excellence. And I believe in this vision and this mission, and I believe it accomplishes all of those.
Yeah. Cool. Frank, why do you think it's the right time for an academic program to start right about now?
It's been time for
with the UBA.
It's been time for a business academic program, because our community, and you know what? Let me go outside of our community. I grew up in Teaneck, New Jersey, and literally, as diverse as Teaneck is, and pretty decently well off. I won't say, we're not the top, we're not the bottom as far as economics go, but the bottom line is I wasn't taught about the simple aspects of business. I came from a family that was business minded. My mother also, my mother was the first Black female realtor in Bergen County. So business was kind of in me, and my dad was an entrepreneur because he worked for himself. He was, a musician. But when I was taught about so many other things that some of them are of no use to me, where business will always be of use, if nothing else, but understanding the processes of business. And that has to happen no matter what community it's in. But if we can help our community understand the business or understand the importance of business, and possibly, because everyone will not be an entrepreneur, everyone's not a good leader. So it's not about creating entrepreneurs. It's about understanding business and being better at business. With that, you can have a better life, period. So it's been time. It's been time.
It's time, and the time is now. Pastor, based on the idea of the UBA, do you see the need for this type of educational program in our communities of color, and why?
Absolutely. And I believe, unfortunately, I hate to say this, I'm the youngest one in the group. I'm the new kid. Frank gets to brag about having a 21-year-old. My baby's 18 months.
They got some time in, huh?
Yeah, my daughter's 18 months. But my fear for my child and for the generation behind me is that we now live in an era that glorifies the ridiculous. And we live in an era where ratchet TV becomes reality in the mindset of those who are just surrounded by it. And anytime you celebrate foolishness, you're going to end up with fools on the ground. So now we have to make sure that we start to not just put on display, but also prove that this is a life that can be lived. This is achievable. This is attainable. We don't have to have a particular mindset that keeps us shackled to the very things that our grandparents fought to get us out of.
Talk about it.
I grew up in Burlington Township, New Jersey, a small town in South Jersey. And I jokingly share with as many people as possible, I hadn't seen the inside of a grocery store until I was 12, because there was the farmer's market that Mr. Jimmy had, the fish store Mr. Sam had, and they were all Black-owned businesses. And the only reason those businesses don't exist is because their children didn't want it. Not because they didn't like the income, but because they were pretty much free labor. They decided, I don't want to work that hard and all of that. Well, I don't know where we lost our work ethic. And a lot of times, the reason why we overwork ourselves is for the very point that Frank made. We don't understand business. And so you have two types of people who operate in business. You have the person who's good at the work but bad at running the business, or the person who's good at the business but bad at doing the work. So if we can figure out how to train both sides and get partnerships together, then we can certainly advance. And like I tell our church, we want to go further, faster. So if we can start putting these in different pockets of different communities all over the country, then that's when you see the country shift. Yeah, and I was going to come in with Isaiah. Do you anticipate more UBAs around
Absolutely.
the country?
Absolutely. That's the goal point, for what we're doing here. As they continue to sacrifice our people around this country, a lot of those particular communities and areas are lacking businesses. lacking unity, lacking, something that will bring them together. So this particular concept will provide that. We all will follow what our children are being taught. This particular time frame now, by all of our children being taken out of school, have given us the opportunity to ask our children, what are you being taught? What is it that you've learned? And we realize that the application that they've been receiving is just, it's up in the air. It's theory. So this type of concept will go around this particular country in different areas. There's been asking, I've spoke to people in Houston, Tampa, Baltimore. So there is a ask for this type of a concept.
Yeah. What is the anticipated date for completion of the first one?
We're looking at fall, September 2021. That's our goal, to open this first one up. All goes well, and we should be taking it off from there.
How's that going to look? That first opening day, that opening look. How's that going to look? Because I want to be there to check it out.
That's going to be a day, and I'm still visualizing it myself. But seeing that, I can see children with no faces. I can see 3rd and 4th graders with no faces. I can definitely see the community there, in support, because they know our children now is going to get the education that we were hoping they were going to get after the civil rights signing of 64, 65. But the truth of the matter is, this is our responsibility and our turn. So it's going to be a beautiful day. I look forward to that day. I'm counting down, constantly. We're exactly a year and a half away from that moment.
And you know how fast that can come.
Come on.
I mean, we're like 6 months into, almost 7 months into the new year.
Right, exactly.
6 months away.
So we have a lot of work to do. Yes, we have a lot of work to do.
Hey, Frank, what grade levels do you anticipate UVA starting in?
We've been talking about it starting at the 3rd and 4th grade levels.
Yeah.
And then adding on a grade every year as it goes. Just so that we can gauge the business of it, right? Make sure we don't expand before we actually have the means to do so. If it's stated 3rd, 4th, and 5th format, who knows? But the bottom line, starting at 3rd and 4th grades, and then going up until 12th grade.
Pastor, we need a lot of prayer, huh?
Absolutely.
What help is needed besides that to complete the first Universal Business Academy?
Well, we're definitely going to saturate this thing in prayer. We're definitely going to do that. But we also need community involvement. I haven't seen a program yet that couldn't use some financial assistance as well.
Oh, yeah.
We need that kind of support. And one of the things that we struggle with on the church side, as well as in schools, is when you get the kids in front of you, or you get people in front of you, you can pour into them. But if you drain it out of them when they get home, then we're just putting money into a bag with holes. So we need the support inside as well as outside. And one of the greatest ways to be supportive, obviously outside of the funding and the faith, is to just stay focused. This is not the time for negativity or naysayers. This is the time for, yes, we can, yes, we will. It's going to happen, and we are going to succeed. And pray for us as well, and for the plan and for the project. Help push so that we can make this happen.
Let's start off with that first prayer. We need to bring the Universal Business Academy to life. Pastor, kick us off with a prayer.
Absolutely. Father, we thank you for a day that you blessed us with, for opportunity that you have empowered us to take advantage of. I'm praying, Lord, for the UBA, for this project, for the building that we seek to occupy, for the unnamed children that shall take part in this program, for the leadership, for those who are in desire of supporting. We pray for success, for strength, for safety, for peace, power, and perseverance. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 All right, guys. Is there a website that we can go to check out more, or are you developing it, or?
Yes, sir. We have a website that we have to update, but it still exists, which is universalbusinessacademy.org. You can go there to give donations, but we're still in the process of updating it as we speak with our new logo and board members as well.
There you go. All right. Isaiah M. Jefferson, founder of Circle of Colors Community Organization. Frank Brown Jr., UBA board member. Pastor Edward Spencer, UBA board member. Pastor Edward Spencer, the fourth. Hey, thank you guys so much. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Absolutely.
And hope we can get together and break some bread. And we wish you lots of love and success. And may God
look forward to it.
Provide a hedge of protection around you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Right. Always remember this: what you are is God's gift to you, and what you make of yourself is your gift to God. So choose your choice and let your choice control the chooser. The Dr. Bob Lee. Had a good time with you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll take the break, come back with more Open next.
All right, sports fans, I can't think of anyone I would rather celebrate the return of Major League Baseball with than Jimmy O'Brien from John Boy Media. Jimmy, how's it going? How are you?
I'm doing well, and like you said, the return of baseball has me has my spirits higher than usual. I think I was reminded how much I love baseball once it became official, and I could actually believe it and get excited for creating rosters and stuff. I had a little tick. I was like, I do love this sport a lot. You know, just like instant mood lifter.
It's been an ongoing saga. Both the Players Union and Major League Baseball just couldn't seem to come to an agreement. And then this is basically a last-ditch resort. But still, at the end of the day, baseball is back.
It was actually a bit delayed with the excitement because on Talking Baseball with Jake and Trevor Plouffe, we've been following these negotiations as closer than anyone should have been following these negotiations. No one should have been following these the way the public was able to. It should have been behind closed doors. So when they announced it, my first reaction was, who won, the players or the owners? And, you know, is this real? Is it a 100% official, or are they going to back out of this and be more counter proposals? So it took like a day. I think we recorded a whole episode and we're just trying to wrap our heads around the negotiations. And then the next day I started doing 30-man roster. I started looking at schedules, and that's when I was just incredibly excited. And I don't, Corona may come back and it may put an end to this, but save that for when it happens and let people be excited. Cause even being able to think about all this is exciting. Like, predicting they open against the Mets. Do they start these guys if they open against the Red Sox, and all these games mean just living in that and being able to do it for a week is so much joy for me.
I mean, it does pain me to see that now on your socials, it's going to be anything other than all of these other things you were trying to fill the time with. I know at one point you were even making things in the kitchen, sometimes not working out in particular, but I'm pretty sure you got to be happy to have actual things to discuss in terms of baseball being back.
Yeah, we had some fun trying some new things. I know I did a lot of battle bots. I mean, it was people request things, and it wasn't baseball, so they're just do this, do this, do this.
I mean, in all seriousness, you've actually had plenty of things to do in terms of your creative process. I've seen from your Twitter, I mean, even yesterday alone, talking to one manager, one umpire, one player, and 2 GMs. So you've been pretty active in terms of staying engaged with baseball during this whole process.
It was yesterday was kind of odd. Like, 4 months ago, 6 months ago, that's a weird day. And it was just what landed on our schedule today. And, they weren't all straight up interviews, but we recorded content with all those people, two former GMs, an umpire, player. So it's been a wild and really fast ride. I feel like the John Boy Media story is, those roller coasters that are magnetized. So the first 30 seconds you're inching and slow, and then all of a sudden, whoop, I feel like we're still in the middle of that magnet takeoff right now, and it's kind of wild.
Now, I'm pretty sure the fans at home definitely know who you are because you've really become a star in baseball circles. But I guess for those that might not know who you are, give a little refresher about how you were at the center of this scandal for both the Houston Astros and the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm just a baseball fan, diehard Yankees fan who always wanted to do my own creative, my own thing. So it started as a Yankees podcast, started as just live tweeting Yankees games. And every time we grew, I presented a new idea in front of the audience that was following along and part of this journey with us. And if they allowed it, then we did it. So I did, it really took off with short videos and long form podcasts and merch sales. So it became a business really, and not in a bad sense. Like, it's really fun. And then when the Astros thing happened, we had an audience in place. I think we had, 100,000 on Twitter and 400,000 on YouTube. So, and they're ready to hear my version of the news and what's going on. And because I try to make it as digestible as possible with short video clips and some audio information, get all the senses going. You can see it here, you can hear it here. And the Astros was the perfect storm because as soon as I read the article by The Athletic, Rosenthal and Evan Drellich, I just did what I always do. I just went to the computer and made a short video and gave it to my audience in the way they expect it to come. And a 2-minute digestible video on something that's scandalous really sparked everything because it went beyond baseball fans and it went beyond sports fans. I think my aunt, who, is part of a knitting club and doesn't follow sports at all, she saw that video because the cheating scandals go far, so it was really wild.
I would say Yankee fans definitely know you as well because really to a large degree, you were responsible for Savages in the Box because of the Aaron Boone story as well, that audio from that game.
That was another perfect storm. And, Boone said all those words. All I did was I was able to capture it, put the subtitles on there and get it out there as fast as possible, which, I think maybe more people will be doing now, but really I was the only one actively doing that last season and the season before. And, I would joke, or I wouldn't joke. I would tell my partner, Jake, like, I can't miss a game because you never know when there's going to be a brawl, when there's going to be an ejection. And we had put all these streams, these revenue streams in place, the podcast, the merch store, the Twitter, the YouTube, and we had all these things and all these avenues of content and revenue streams in place. And when a moment like that comes, that's what you're waiting for. And that's why we dedicated to covering every inning of every game. Because once that happens and once Boone gives that rant, which was amazing, it's go time. And, what I like to say is if you look at the graph, once that happened, the business ticked up and then we plateaued from there and made sure that we kept with it.
It actually might be a season 2 where players like Stanton and Judge that have been a bit injury prone might not have that same issue because, with the shortened season, if they're able to kind of get situated and stay healthy, they don't have to stay healthy for 162. They just have to stay healthy pretty much for half the season.
Judge, Stanton, Paxton, Hicks, all 4 of those guys would have been out. Staying healthy, it's a little scarier to me because a month, starting the season, I always give Gary Sanchez a month. I love Gary, but you'll probably be hurt for a month. It's just kind of in his repertoire now. Didi Gregorius missed a month in 2017. He had a fantastic year. You can miss a month and still play for the 5 others in a regular season, and it's not bad. You can't miss a month. You can't miss a month this year. You can't, one DL stint will really like kill the season. So that's scarier to me.
I feel like you've done such an incredible job of trying to market the game to younger fans, something that I feel Major League Baseball really is struggling to do.
They're getting better. They basically didn't do it at all for a decade. And, come 2017, they made swift changes to, hey, let's let people share clips on Twitter. Let's let people share clips on Instagram, which is insane. It took them far too long, but they are making strides. Our business model or whatever, what I thought was like, go to where fans are. Why would, and why would you make like, johnboyblog.com and the only way they get my thoughts is if they go to that website? No one's doing that. You got to go find people where they are and give them highlights in a fashion that they enjoy it. So baseball's figuring that out. They have a TikTok now. Like, that's amazing for them. I'm not going to see it because I don't go on TikTok, but we have one too. I don't run it. I don't want to go over there, but they have Twitter. They're starting to do better. They have YouTube stuff. So they have so many marketable young studs in this league. Last year was the most young studs in the All-Star game, the youngest starting the 9 in the NL All-Star game ever. So like, we got young kids playing and they're studs. There's going to be fans out there. People like high quality talent. So they have a big opening. So I think, just go to where these kids are and make kids play too is the biggest thing. We got to get kids playing baseball. And then when they grow up and they get a 9 to 5 and they come home at 6 o'clock and they're like, I just want to sit on the couch, then baseball will be there for them.
All right, final question. Biggest wish for the upcoming season? I'm assuming it's the Yankees winning the World Series, but biggest wish?
I'd like Cole and Judge. Obviously, it's Yankees winning, and I don't care what formula that it ends there. But for the sake of Yankee fans, give me a full 60 games. I know it's not even a season of Cole and Judge. I don't want them to have a setback or be bad. So let's have them dominate for 60 games, and we'll just put all the pause on like injuries and was Cole worth it, and it can Judge play without getting injured. I want all those conversations on pause for at least the summer. So just give me those two guys, ride it out.
I really appreciate you taking the time with us today, and always great to talk some baseball with you.
Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
Welcome back. I'm the Doc Bob Lee, and we've got it going on for you. I have Asha Boston with us today. She's the founder and executive director of the Dinner Table Doc, and she's going to explain the whole thing. We're going to take a look at her work, her partnerships with schools and community groups, and we welcome Asha Boston to the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
How are you?
I'm doing well considering the circumstance.
Yeah, I know. We're all going through it together. And I'm going to walk with you every step of the way.
Yeah.
Asha, tell us about the Dinner table doc. Is it doctor or documentary or?
It's a documentary. So the dinner table doc started off as a documentary aimed to like debunk this stereotype that when women, especially women of color, are seated at a table like you see in reality television, it turns into chaos. And so I wanted to create this film that was kind of the antithesis of that and showed that we can empower each other and inspire each other. And from that one documentary in 2013, it snowballed into becoming an entire nonprofit organization that aims to provide college and career readiness, but also self-esteem building resources for young women of color ages 11 through 18.
And since you're talking about the dinner table, etiquette.
Yes.
Because
Absolutely.
it doesn't always happen like that. I think they write that in there. It's supposed to be a reality show, but I think they write that in there for the excitement and everything.
Oh, for sure.
But thank you for sharing. That's wonderful. When did you get this started?
So I started in 2013 with the film, but I started taking the film to different schools and social organizations just to talk to young women about how they can empower each other. And I remember one young woman was like, "This is cute, but this is not like my real life. I don't sit at these dinner tables." And I'm like, "Oh, wow, why can't it be?" And so I kind of took that prompt and started planning these small, really intimate gatherings where young women can sit at the table with professionals and be able to just learn about life and identity, and then of course network. And from those small dinners of like 90-something people, it started
small dinners of 90-something people?
Small dinners of 97 people.
That's a party right there.
Oh my gosh. I just realized that there was a huge need for the kind of program that I was doing. And so I went ahead to begin my journey to apply to be a nonprofit. And in 2017, we became a 501c3 organization, which is amazing. And actually just last year, we became Department of Education vendors, which allows us to legally contract into New York City public schools and provide services during the school day and even after school as well.
Hey, congratulations. I know you got a lot of people that are proud of you. Mom, dad, a lot of family members, friends.
For sure.
Now, who are the students that we're dealing with? Is it junior high school, college?
Yes, well, primarily we started working with high school and college students, but in the past year, we've seen an increase in our audience from middle school age young women and girls, which excites me because I think the conversation should start earlier, starting from as well. So yeah, primarily from girls, maybe like 10, and then we carry them all the way until they go to college.
Yeah, like in junior high, when you start early, they're more moldable. You can,
Yes.
But after they get into high school, this is what we know what we want. We know what we're going to do.
Yes.
They're kind of more, they're hardened. But that's a great thing that you're starting. I know when you're sitting people down at the table, of course, you're teaching them, like we mentioned before, that etiquette, forks to the left and all of that stuff, and how things should be set up and how it looks. And then that's when you see that, you sit down, you say, "Oh, this is my place setting," especially when you're at a table of 10 or 12. You don't reach for somebody else's glass or somebody else's fork or knife. So that's all a part of the whole process that you're teaching, right? I think that's wonderful.
Absolutely. And, really helping girls find the confidence to know that they're worth the space they have at the table.
Yes.
Because it's kind of like twofold, not knowing which silverware is yours, but then also not feeling confident enough to speak up and use your voice. So we try to package all of those lessons within the workshops we do and the spaces that we create.
I like it. I would like to come to, once we get out there and we're able to go to physically be there, I would like to come out and pay a visit.
Oh,
and check it out, see how you operate.
Yeah, that would be amazing to have you. We're figuring out how to do it virtually this year. We're not sure what that might look like, but I'm excited to explore the possibilities.
Have everybody to come virtually with their plate and bring something to the party.
Yes.
And there's a way to do it. Everybody's trying to do it. I've been on so many of these things. I mean, it's unbelievable. I've been to workshops and career days and you name it. It's out there. As a matter of fact, after we get done with this show, I have another one to go to.
Oh, wow.
and I can just sit here all day like this. But that's wonderful. You have gear too. Look, you have the
Yes,
dinner table. Yeah. Are you selling those online?
Yes, we're selling them on our website, and all the proceeds go back to helping us fund our programs. It's especially important during this time because we actually are preparing to launch a virtual summer camp, and we would love to send all of the participants shirts. And so every time you buy a shirt, it helps us provide a shirt for another young woman, which is awesome. So we're super excited about that.
So you need volunteers, you need people to buy shirts.
Absolutely. We need volunteers. The form is on our website at www.thedinnertabledoc.com. Doc is doc.com. And we're looking for volunteers to help us as virtual camp counselors, but we're also, looking for donations and anything that can help us provide just the greatest virtual experience ever.
All right, so I'm going to give it to you sincerely. Ask people for what you want. You have the camera's on you. No stress. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Hello, everyone. I'm Asha from the Dinner Table, and we are seeking so much help for the virtual programming that we are launching for the remainder of 2020. Of course, things caught everyone off guard, but we are not going to stop ourselves from providing services for young Black and Brown women ages 11 through 18. We are currently seeking volunteers for our virtual summer camp, but also potential mentors for our virtual dinners coming up in the winter. We are also seeking donations to help us be able to provide whatever it is that the young women need, whether it's t-shirts and gear from us, or maybe extra sanitizer to help them go back to school. We are just super excited about supporting young women the best way that we can, especially in the New York City area. So if you're out there and you'd like to help, you can reach us at our website, www.thedinnertabledoc.com. You can also reach out to us via email at info@thedinnertabledoc.com. And then we're on social media at dinnertabledoc. Thank you.
There you go. Asha, that you said it all right there. Thank you for your service. We love you and we appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
The Dinner Table Doc. The Dinner Table Doc. Asha Boston, founder, executive director. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you again. All right? Another day, another way. Stay safe. Be blessed.
You too.
We'll take a break. We've got more coming up next. Hope you had a wonderful, wonderful 4th of July Independence Day weekend. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today's show, and I want to thank you, our guests, for joining us, and you, our viewers, for tuning in and checking it all out. You can follow us on BronxNet for continued coverage. We've got you covered like a blanket. Always remember this: what you are is God's gift to you, and what you make of yourself is your gift to God. So choose your choice, and let your choice control the chooser. Stay safe, stay blessed, and may God put a hedge of protection around you. I'm Bob Lee. Catch you another day, another way. Love you all. Peace.